Looks like it's working. Alrighty, everybody. We are live today. I know it is a Sunday, but I did commit to doing weekly updates. And bear with me as I check. Oops. Hey, everybody. That's me. We are live. Let's mute that. So I know I mentioned, for those of you who've been following me for a while, that I'm going to be doing weekly updates on my journey to $500,000 in revenue by the end of the year. And so I've been doing these updates typically on Friday evenings. That's just when I generally have time for it. But as many of you can appreciate or don't appreciate, life is busy. So unfortunately, this Friday evening I wasn't able to do my live update, but I did commit to providing an update on a regular basis. So today I will be doing an update for the prior week that would be up until Friday of this week. Using the same metrics and analysis that I use, because I think it's important to continue to do these updates. I think the accountability is helpful for me, but it's also important that I stick with this, because this is about a consistent approach for the remainder of the year rather than, hey, I'm just going to do this whenever I feel like it. So, because, and I mentioned that because somebody actually mentioned, hey, just skip this week, just do it next week. That's fine. But as much as I just want to go in bed and, it's Sunday evening, I just want to get in bed and relax and chill out. I just want to get this done. It's going to be quick. It's going to be simple. I want to follow through on this because I like the accountability of I need to give an update because it demonstrates progress. The other thing I like about this too is it's difficult when you're at such a small stage of a business, when you're just trying to build things and, there's a lot of questions and there's a lot of answers out there, but you spend a lot of your time researching or working. So to hit the pause button, to take a step back and look at what did you do in the prior week. Sometimes we don't afford ourselves that luxury, and I'm guilty of that as well. And honestly, if I didn't do this video on a weekly basis, I admit that I would probably wouldn't be checking on these metrics myself. But what I like about it is that every time I think about this video, I'm also thinking about, well, what should I share, right? So there's a lot of data, there's a lot of information out there. But I'm also trying to find out, like, as I share these updates with you all, the public, so to speak, I'm also looking at this and it's helping me think about, well, what should I change next week? And I actually like that because in a way it's kind of, you can call it performance monitoring. So I'm looking at what's happened recently as well as in the longer term, and it helps me to understand, is my current strategy working? And if not, then how do we tweak it? And if it is, then how do we double down and make it even better? So I actually enjoy doing this as well. So the performance monitoring aspect of it, I think, brings a lot of value to me, and I appreciate you all hearing me chat about this as we get into it. So first and foremost, let's talk about our weekly revenue. So this is Friday to Friday, right? So this is last Friday to this Friday. We've generated an additional $6,200 in revenue, which is $4,000 less than the prior week. Okay, so there's some reasoning there. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, but that's just a quick number there, right? So an additional $6,200 and a little bit weaker than the prior week. Our year-to-date revenue as of February 19th is $48,000 year-to-date. So making progress overall, not looking too shabby. So let me jump into some of these graphs here. Okay, let me just make sure that worked. I did. Okay, so. You all have seen this on a regular basis. I share my year-to-date daily sales versus cumulative revenue. So the blue bars represent my daily revenue, day-over-day revenue, and then the orange line represents my cumulative revenue year-to-date. So that $48,000 would be this tippy top right here, and then the blue bars would be your day-over-day revenue. As you guys can see, some of these spikes here, those would be weekends or hot sales activities. So. I'm going to use this little red arrow here. In the last few days, this is actually Friday, and I'm pointing at right here, a lot of activity, right? And actually, I'll give you guys a little sneak peek. Saturday and some of Sunday today, I probably generated another $6,000 to $7,000 in revenue. I sold some big ticket items that I don't have a lot of, but we'll talk more about that next week. So the revenue is going to jump a lot in the next few days. And then this section here is when I started testing the whole promotions approach on. Specifically on eBay, how do I drive additional listing views, consequently page views, and then consequently sales? So I shifted some tactics probably around this time right here, and then deployed that on 12 items of which only one took off. And I'm going to do a little deep dive on that one item in a minute. And so what happened was we sold out of that item. And then around this time frame here, which is Wednesday, Thursday of this previous week, we started tweaking the approach on all the other items. Because the question I had was, why aren't my other items selling in the same fashion that this item sold? So I've tweaked that approach, and you can see the spike. A lot of that accounts for additional item sales following the similar strategy. And then just looking at my Saturday and Sunday activity, it's gonna be huge. So I'm really excited to see that progress. I'm going to continue to push that as we get into this week. But it kind of makes me want to talk about the Monday to Friday schedule. So and it was interesting this week because this Monday was a holiday. So we didn't really get that much done on Monday. But what I'm finding is the first day of the week is typically an order day. So for instance, as we get into tomorrow, we have probably over 30 items that we need to package and ship, which at this point, because of our processes and systems, it's probably going to take a good chunk of the day. And then, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, a lot of that's cleanup. I'm receiving some items this week as well. 3 new loads coming in this week. So we're going to be spending some time doing inventory, organizing, and prepping that inventory as well. So it's not really until Thursday, Friday that we start putting on our sales hat and thinking, okay, how can we tweak our listings in a way that through the weekend we can generate a lot of volume? So that's kind of been our approach lately. I would love to spend all week focusing on just sales, but if you guys can remember that value chain or the strategic framework that I've been talking about, you kind of have to bounce around as you're a two-man team right now for us. There's only so much time you can spare. So we're bouncing around, but we're focusing on kind of the essentials at the moment as we continue to scale up. The next thing I want to show you guys is actually this Powerbeats 3. I want to borrow my red arrow. Let's bring this down here. The Powerbeats 3, right? So this is the item that, again, around here is when we started the promotion. You can see prior to that, there was absolutely very little activity. This is probably one to 3 units per day. And then it really jumped. And I like to see this because it reinforces for me that the promotion or that strategy, so to speak, that we used, it works. So, and then of course it tapers off here at the bottom, because we just ran out of inventory, and that was us just scraping together 1 or 2 items that we could find in our warehouse to just finish out what we had. So I just wanted to share that because this is a deep dive in that item. I was really curious to see how that activity kind of skyrocketed and plummeted. So I want to see this very similar curve for a lot of my other items. This other graphic I wanted to share with you guys, I need my red arrow. It shows by sales channel. So I use the Starbucks analogy because when Starbucks started out in Seattle, they only had that one store. And then over time, Starbucks is like, people like what we do. Let's sell to a larger market. Well, when you're a Starbucks, how do you do that? You just build more stores. So in the same sense for me, and as I get into March, my March strategy is going to be on cross-platform listing. But as we get into March and further months, the idea is how can I build more Starbucks stores, right? So it's right now my largest market is represented by the orange here, and this is day-over-day activity. Same chart as above. It just the colors represent channels. So the orange represents my eBay sales. The gray represents local stuff. So this is mostly Facebook Marketplace, and then the blue represents Amazon. So if you guys kind of take a look at what's going on here, you can see that there's a lot of blue lately, and that's mainly because Amazon's really giving me solid deals, solid pricing, and a lot of activity. So I'm kind of pushing a lot of things into the Amazon realm because I'm liking this type of activity here. But that's the idea here is we got to get into other places. So that way we have one listing, but in multiple platforms. So that way, because there's different markets in each of those platforms. People that shop on eBay don't shop on Amazon. People that shop on Amazon don't shop on Facebook Marketplace, generally speaking. So I'm trying to attract a broader audience so that way I can move inventory faster. Now, doing that logistically is kind of challenging, but we're trying to develop a system on how do we do that more efficiently so that way we can get things going and get them moving. So I'm excited to see how this is going to get very colorful in the coming months. Now, the other thing I wanted to add, because this week over week progress is important for me, is I want to hit 500,000 by the end of the year. So the question is how am I doing now, right? Because if I'm behind the curve, then what can I do to accelerate it? And if I'm ahead, that's great, but let's not get lazy. So the orange line here represents time. So what percentage of the year has gone by? So the x-axis, I know it's kind of small, guys, bear with me. The x-axis represents the week, right? So we just finished the 7th week of the year. That's what the time represents here, right? So this is just going to gradually go up until we hit the end of the year. The gray axis represents my percentage of revenue. I'm sorry, my revenue is a percentage of my total goal. So how close am I achieving my goal over time? So obviously, if the gray line crosses the orange line and it goes above it, it means I've exceeded my goal for the current moment, right? At the end of the year, if all goes well, we should be above it. But right now, what we're seeing is we're seeing this gap right here. If you can follow my red line, this gap right here, I need to fill that. So I need to continue to push additional volume and continue to close that gap. Granted, we're coming out of the holiday season, you know, blah, 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 blah. You got all your excuses, but there's a lot of work to do here. And I know what it is we need to do. We just need to continue to consistently execute and continue to make progress. And then the rest of the pieces will fall into place. I also believe that the majority of our revenue to be able to achieve that goal will happen in the 4th quarter of this year. So a lot of our 3rd quarter, so kind of the end of summer, will be about positioning the business to be ready for the 4th quarter. So we'll talk more about that in the coming months. So let's get back to this shoot. All right. So, you know, and we're kind of getting to our last week of February. So I'll kind of close with this is, you know, I talked a lot about these kind of monthly goals in some of my other videos. So February was really, the focus was on marketing. So we wanted to build a website. That's done. I'm going to throw up the URL, sickmagna.com. So this is, again, it's another channel. It's another platform for us to list. It's not done, but over time we'll continue to enhance and build that out, because that's one of the ways we're going to market our brand. We also, last week, if you guys remember, I talked about having a brand. So the brand is done. If you go to the website, you'll see our logo and our branding that we're going to be going with going forward. And then the last piece is really Instagram. So I have an Instagram account, but I haven't done anything on it yet. So I'm trying to figure out and strategize, what should we be doing on Instagram? How should we build a community, and how do we engage our audience? If you guys have suggestions or ideas, I would love to hear them. But that's one of the things that in the next week, and hopefully by the end of next week, I can update you guys on, because that's one of my goals for February, was to lay the foundation for some solid marketing activities, and then we're going to continue to enhance those over time. So this week will really be a lot of focus will be spent on Instagram and starting to build out that platform and that community, so we can get some following, but also we can drive some sales through that platform as well. That's all I have for tonight. I appreciate you guys joining. I look forward to touching base with everybody on Friday. Otherwise, I hope everybody has a good weekend or good week. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.